so much, our history is so deep. You know, so I'm trying to get back to you. How did I do that? There we go. Yeah, Zoom is excellent, except the simplest thing, which is how to just turn it on. I had a guy who was trying to teach me yesterday, and you know, you and I have no trouble with the audio, right?
Right.
And he couldn't get the audio to work. He had to talk on the phone and then demonstrate on the computer, and you know, and it was like, hey, you know, come on, we can talk and look at the computer at the same time. But you know, Zoom needs to have like a little easy launch kind of thing, because even when you launch it, when I launch the code that you send me, it says this application is not supported by, you know, all this bullshit. It's like, fuck you, just I've got it on my machine, just launch the fucker. Come on. That logic is not that hard to write, and it would make things a lot easier. As you well know, the beginning of a meeting is about, you know, is about 50% of how a meeting feels, right?
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay, so anyhow, I'm going to attempt by Thursday to have that stuff that you requested in place. I just did some editing on the life of Wan Buddhism. I did their 10 event. Do you know the 10 stages of the Zen Buddhist stuff? The monk that's wandering and the ox herding pictures.
Oh yeah. I wrote a book on the laws of the universe, and
Okay.
I took that whole parable. There's 10 steps. So yeah, I went through that parable and put it into.
So the Wan people have borrowed from that, and they didn't do it very skillfully, I'm afraid. And so then I got it, and then I'm turning it into English. And you know, often if religious people tend to repeat things because they've been told if they repeat things, they'll get to heaven. And I actually don't think that's true. But I mean, if you have a choice between going to hell and repeating the name of God, I guess it's better to repeat the name of God. You know, because when you get to hell, if you're sitting there repeating the name of God, they're not going to want you there either. You know, so.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that they mimic the ox herd with 10 events. And I'm trying to convert that into a graphic story. And it's really hard because the text is no good. The images are no good. I mean, basically it's it's like a 2-year job that I'm trying to do in, you know, a week or so in the background.
Wow.
Which is it's not a bad exercise because you learn. I mean, you and I will knock this thing off. And then when we get close to completing it, we're going to understand what an unreasonable project this was, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I bought about 5 Jataka books, and then online I bought some more, but I have trouble reading them online. My eyes don't really like reading from the screen, and I subscribe to Audible, and I'm not happy with them either. So, you know, I haven't even, you know, I read and listened to probably maybe 40 or 50 of them. So I only have another 400 to go, right? Yeah. I think there's some classics, but I think it's hard to tell. And that's why your database is going to be helpful. I think we should have a subjective rating in there. I think you and I should have a star column where we can put a number between 1 and 5. 5 meaning it's a really great story, and 1 meaning, it's okay, it's a real story, but who cares?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Because people shouldn't have to hunt and peck.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've already encountered several versions of the same story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I even have it in my a database where I'm going to allow that so we can see different versions.
Right. And I think we have to go by the publisher's frontispiece, because they're all basically come from Cambridge University.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The English language version is basically Sanskrit translated by a team of people in Cambridge in the 1800s, and then there's a Kawasaki, there's a EB, and there's another guy, Eric von something or other, and they're all pretty thorough. But I'm the only one who's got 500 of them that I can tell. EB does not have 500 of them. She's got about 100 of them.
Yeah, about 100. Yeah, right.
Yeah, she does not have the 500. So I've ordered this other guy, Eric, I think. I gave you a source number for them. I'm calling them, I think EB is source number 1. And then there are 3 other sources. There's Kawasaki, there's this guy, Eric, and there's another source. So you and I need to make an agreement on which source is which.
Mm-hmm. And I saw one had 500 in there, but it was a PDF. And it actually was images. So I didn't know how to copy and paste that into a text file.
But there is a way to convert a PDF into Word, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh.
I'm sure if you did PDF to Word in Google, it would give you a million answers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the nice thing about PDF. It's really an excellent format. Mm-hmm. And it's a little bit rigid, but it's rigid on purpose. It's rigid so that once you publish something in PDF, it's hard for people to screw it up. And it plays well on all media, all formats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the idea is that you can't edit a PDF. The truth is, if you buy a professional version of PDF of Adobe, you can edit it to smithereens. But you basically have to do that. The monk sent me his story, his 10 stories, and it was in Word and it was locked. And so I didn't have time to call him at 12 o'clock at night and say, hey, you sent me a locked version. So I had to take that, run it through something else, and back into Word. And he wanted an underlined version, which I couldn't provide because everything was so screwed up. I had to just rewrite the whole thing.
Oh, wow. Oh.
So it was okay. It was only 4 or 5 pages, but
mm-hmm.
Hopefully, see, that's why I like EB, because we don't need to rewrite EB. She's good. She did her homework. She took the Cambridge version and put it into 20th century English. And the Kawasaki thing I've read, and then there are ones that have commentary, and you don't want the commentary. You don't need this, scholastic 10-page introduction into the meaning derivation and
mm-hmm.
and intellectual consequences of the exploration. No, fuck it, man. Just get to the stories.
Mm-hmm.
We can put an appendix, not a preface, an appendix that says these stories are whatever, this, that, and the other thing. We put a little short thing. Here are stories from ancient stories that were used to explain the lives of the Buddha, and from these, whatever. We hope you enjoy them. End of song. And then in the back, if you want to say something about how it took 20 college kids, 5 years to translate 500 of these things, that's nice. And, their historical context, that they're probably all Aesop's, from what I can make out, all of them, the German myths, the Celtic myths, they're all derivative from these. This is the mother, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I have to look up Jataka again and find out exactly what it means. It has a specific meaning. Okay, so where are we at?
So Ralph, so this week I'm working on the input form.
Okay, good.
So basically, on that, imagine anybody comes in, you, me, or whatever, who's going to input the stories. They'll come to a screen. Then I'll have drop downs, for various categories like the animals, and the category, the type of ethics, whether this is one that's on anger, on greed, or whatever.
Right.
So they'd be able to pass that. I'll also have a field for the Jataka, a number, so that they can either put in a Roman numeral, and I'll convert it to int, or you put an int and convert it to a Roman numeral. So
Right.
then they won't have to. Okay, what's 100? In Roman numerals. So that will be done automatically. So then once we and then they'll be able to. I'll have a box, a huge box where you can just cut and paste, your story in there, and then.
Okay, so that the idea is that same database would also contain the stories, right?
Correct. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
so we wind up creating the extensive library of the Jataka tales over the next couple of years, or however long it takes.
Yeah, exactly. And what that provides us is actually to search inside the actual text itself. So.
I think we may be creating something kind of useful.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I like, sure, it'd be nice to have, something that teachers could use that would be very simple, that they could just type in, we give them drop-down list of topics and, topics and animals, and they just pick which animal or which topic they're interested in, and then the story pops up and they can read it. That's an awfully nice interface, because that's what I hate so much right now, is like the entire internet has become just a dumping ground of data.
Mm-hmm.
It's about as organized as it's not even a junkyard. A junkyard is organized.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
A dump. You ever been to a dump?
Yeah, I've been to a dump. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well that's the internet has become a dump.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's been a dump. You got porn to the left and porn to the right, and you have advertising in the middle, and then you have the stuff that you're looking for behind all of that. And so it's just it's just pretty sad. So and then now Google has changed its philosophy from being a useful tool to being an advertising monster, and that's what's going on.
Oh, I gotta show you. You have Netflix.
Yeah.
Look for the social dilemma.
Right.
Watch that. It will blow your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch it. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Is it about social media?
Yes, it's about social media. It's about Facebook. It's about Google. It's about Twitter, and how they design things. At Stanford University, they have a course that they teach, ethic people, well, actually, so-called ethic people, how to use these platforms to hook people on addiction, so the company can make more money. So
Right.
it is you versus the intelligence of all the supercomputers. That's what you're facing when we're using those tools.
I understand, and I don't know if I've told you this, but I was in the hospital for a long time, and in that time, before I went in, I had managed to download somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 apps, and I'd used all the browsers for years, and I'd used Google and all the other search engines. So anyhow, I'm sitting there, and all I could do is stare up into space, and I'm on IV and all that nonsense, and I just said, there's got to be a better way. But it takes a long time to think about that. But I had a long time, so I spent months thinking about it, and it could be done better. I don't know if you and I are up to it, but I have some ideas about how to rewrite the internet. I mean, it doesn't have to be this morass. It's actually irresponsible. It's against what's happened is they'll make programmers rich if they will just do it the way marketing wants it. So marketing says, look, you want a job here, we'll pay you whatever you want. But because, for them it's billions of dollars. They say, no, we'll pay you whatever you want. So, here's this, advanced teenager who's suddenly making $120,000, $150,000 a year, and he'll write any fucking code you tell him to write. And so what you've got pop-ups and, everything in the world to interfere.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even been into some of the server farms where they monitor everything, and they're the ones who are serving up this crap. And and they take every bit of information they can get their hands on. And the only thing they don't do is they probably have all our passwords. They don't use the passwords because they'd get shut down and the whole game would be over. But they use all of our information.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
so
yeah.
There should be.
That's probably the most important documentary I think I've seen in a long time.
All right, send me the name when you get a chance. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
And I'll watch it. Yeah, but that would be. I wanted to raise like $50 million to rewrite the internet, because it would take you would need a you and I could manage them. We couldn't write the code.
No, I couldn't write the code. No.
No, but we would we would even hire designers, but not these bogus designers. And then we'd hire these whatever Buddhist monk programmers that have no ulterior motive, and just are happy to make a good wage, and then you build the thing. I think it would be the most disruptive thing that happened on the planet, because the internet has taken over. So that would be a great cultural monument, is to create what I call either an alternet, an intranet, or a internet, whatever, something deeper and simpler. Okay, so let me see, what else do we have to worry about?
So I probably have about a month's work just to do the importing of the creating a program so anybody can import the stories into the database.
Okay, but for now, don't make it quite so general purpose. Okay, it doesn't. Right now, it's okay if you're the one who can do it, because there are 500 of them, and if we set it up right, if you set it up right, we could actually go to the source material, which is available. I've what I call source 4. I sent you something called source 4. Okay, source 4 is a photographic representation of the 500 tales. It's a photograph of a book that has the 500 tales in it. And I sent it to you, and it's called
Yeah, I remember
Source.
seeing that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So, you know, if we could get to a point where we just see, like right now, you know, you said, okay, just thank you. I got the 12, 14 stories, whatever it is. Now you go find them and put them together. Well, you know, I'm trying to find them, and you know, a lot of them are right there with EB, and then all of a sudden, a couple of them were not into. EB did not have, for some reason, EB didn't have whatever the goose with the gold feathers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And which, by the way, is the same story as the goose that laid the golden egg. It's the same story, just different.
So what I'm going to say, so yeah, if we just start real slow, you know, and even if we start with EB and input that into the database, so let's say in a couple of weeks we're going to have 50 stories from EB. So,
yeah, that's a great place to begin.
Yeah,
we will learn a ton, right?
Yeah. So why don't I do that for phase one. Then
that's good.
Then we got to see. Actually, so then let's say I add 50. At a certain point, when we add more, we're going to have to see what is already existing in the database with the same story name. I think we can have different versions. So I'm wondering, should I check for duplicates or not? Because
well, you're going to have a hard time checking for duplicates because some of them are total rip-off duplicates, which is sort of easy.
Yeah.
And then some are the same story told by a different person with a slightly different emphasis or different language. My recommendation is we put them all in there and we put the source in there. And then if somebody is looking, they type in golden goose, and then they get the goose with the golden egg, they get the goose with the golden feathers, they get 4 or 5 different goose stories, and that's fine. That's what they get. And they can pick, they do the work of curation. Okay. So we index, they curate. We don't want to, that's way beyond our capacity to do editorial analysis of 500 stories. You and I would, you know, it would be a couple of lifetimes, you know. I don't know what you know about Tibetan scriptures, but, you know, basically I've heard that all the books on Buddhism would not fill a single bookshelf. However, all the Tibetan scripts, which are, you know, all the commentary on what Buddha said and all the stuff that's been written since, there are over 64,000 of them.
Wow.
You couldn't, you literally could not read it in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So my dream is that it all gets input, and then we develop a Buddhist AI, and then when the world is coming to an end, we have and the machines achieve consciousness, that we have a Buddha AI who achieves consciousness, but it may be, you know, a little bit more interesting because they've grown up, so to speak, on Buddhism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just get EB in there. That's the idea.
Okay, and I'll have a column name called source. So
yeah,
and so we know this is from EB or whatever it comes from.
Right, and we can, you know, you can use a code for each of these sources, and then have an index of what those codes mean. You know? Yeah. Don't you shouldn't have to type in, you know, a 20-character, you know, source name. It should just be, you know, EB, you know. Even in the version that I just bought, I spent $100 on Jataka Tales last week, just last week. and they're still coming. But they've even changed. What used to be 3 volumes is now 2 volumes, and they changed the ISBN number. So, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous. So that's why I think what we do is we start with EB. That's plenty. We got enough stories, and then you and I slowly start picking apart the rest of it. And I think one way of doing it is the way that you basically are doing, which is we put together a database, then we drop all the stories in. We don't give them any judgment at all. We just drop them all in there with the right, you know, descriptors, and then we can go, okay, let's do Fox stories, and up come all these Fox stories, and then you and I can make a decision about whether, you know, some of them, you know, I don't think you get rid of any of them. I think you just, you know, you cite the source, and you and I, we could have a, you know, a Guy Rich, you know, a Siskel and Ebert on it, you know.
Yeah. And then I'm going to also have links to the YouTube videos inside
Absolutely. There. Absolutely. I have a feeling this woman would do more of these, and I would love her to do more of them because she does them so well. She doesn't even have to play the instrument every single time, but she should read it, and should read a lot more than she's already done. And I think if we could offer her, you know, I've asked her, you know, I think I sent a note to her, you know, I've asked for time to talk to her because I just want to find out what she would like to do. And then, so she might say, well, you know, we started this project, and you know, and it was going great. And all of a sudden, we realized that there were 500 tales, and we just couldn't do it. And you know, she's not doing what we're doing, which is here basically you and I are both part system analysts, and so we're like looking at this thing as an oversized task that has to be broken down and and we're also going to start finding other source material. I have a feeling.
So I see you got to get going here, don't you? You said you had it cut off at 7:50.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've got a direction. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm you know, this thing is really breaking opening wide. You know, it's a lot bigger vision than what
it is. Okay, but don't kill yourself on coding. I know you like to code, but be careful, okay?
Yeah, I am. You know, phase 1, I'm building this just to input the stories. That's what I'm doing for this phase. You know, so we can have a tool. So in the future, it could be you, me, or whoever, you know, wants to help add stories. They can do so. So
good. All right, my friend. I'll see you on Thursday, right?
Yep, on Thursday. Yeah. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.